Last Friday, February 3rd, the Chequamegon School District was closed because of cold weather conditions. The weather was below -40 at the time. The buses went out to pick the students up. Micaiah Singer, a 7th grader, stated that she stayed at home and watched movies. Miss Hanson said she spent her day baking cookies with her son, and I spent my day snowmobiling. Overall, it appears that a lot of people enjoyed their day off.
Mr. Kilmore's 8th grade science classes are currently learning about minerals. The students have started a self-project about minerals to research to present to their class. The presentation involves students conducting research on a type of mineral that is mined. They were required to present how it is mined, where it is found, and how much it is, and what it is used for. They will also have to sketch on a map of where the mineral is found. As a result, students will have a better understanding of minerals and
Nifty Needles is a class for 7th and 8th grade students, taught by Miss Charlene Jelena. In the Nifty Needles class, students learn about sewing, knitting, and crocheting. Recently, the class made hand warmers. They used a back stitch and an invisible hem stitch to make the project. Students then filled their hand warmers with rice. This allows them to put it in the microwave for about 20 seconds to heat them up. The hand warmers will stay warm for about 30 minutes. Currently, they are studying tools used for crocheting and different types of stitches, since their current topic is crocheting.
Foodology 8 is taught by Mr. Kilmore, and he is a very good group of students. Noah Perez and Maya Singer have gotten 9s out of 10 on all of their food. Judged by Mr. Kilmore, they have cooked homemade bagels and deep dish pizza. Aiden Bushman and Keynes McEwen made cornmeal muffins and got a 9 out of 10. Abigail Brenhol and Ivy Corpi D'Amico made ribs, and they got 10 out of.
Mrs. Butler's life skills class had a guest speaker from Embrace to talk about self-image. They learned how self-talk can affect self-image and how both of those can affect behavior. The presenter gave students fun activities and food snacks for getting a question right. The class also watched a short video on how people think what they look like and how other people describe how they look. And the difference is huge. The video really stuck with people. The video shows that people don't see your flaws as much as you see them yourself. The presenter also talked about how it is hard to go on the internet without seeing people that have changed their bodies. Mrs. Butler's class will be doing a mirror activity with positive affirmations on the mirror. They will also be looking in the mirror and saying positive affirmations out loud about themselves.
On February 9th, 2023, Miss Hanson's 7th grade English classes were assigned a project to make their own virtual museum exhibits from the Harlem Renaissance time period. The first 3 pieces of their exhibit came from the time of the Harlem Renaissance, and their last piece was more of a modern piece. They could even make it themselves. Students could choose from different mediums such as music, poetry, sculptures, musicals, books, paintings, and more. The students were excited to do this project because they knew other schools might not have a chance to do fun things like this in their ELA courses. All of their exhibits had a unifying theme which required them to analyze all the pieces using techniques they learned in class. I personally created my museum with the theme that conveys that things will be bad, but there will always be hope.
Students can earn the M&Ms reward by having no behavior referrals in any given quarter. 98 students get the reward for marvelous M&Ms in the second quarter and were rewarded on Friday, February 10th. Students can improve to get awarded the M&Ms by acting appropriately and by practicing self-control.
Forensic students are competing and reading to win this fantastic competition. Forensics is all about public speaking, which many students struggle with. Not only is it fun, but it's a hard competition, perfect for the nervous yet achieving student. Though this year in middle school, all forensic students chose to do reader's theater, meaning they will read off their scripts in character voices while keeping their hands on their scripts, staying in place, remaining eye contact, and keeping their voices strong. Forensic students spend weeks practicing their performance and going for their gold. It can be challenging to students are mostly left to practice and edit their scripts to their liking only with their team. Ms. Hanson, the principal, stated, "The students will compete on February 15th at Hayward for the Level 1 competition. On March 2nd, we will travel to Eau Claire for the Level 2 competition. There are almost 20 students participating this year, and we look forward to increasing the numbers next year. This is my first year as the advisor, so I have a lot to learn to get organized. Forensics helps students to public speaking skills and confidence. It is a great opportunity to put yourself out there and get some feedback. One student reported, "My group only got one suggestion, and that was to, even though we don't have to memorize our lines, we should memorize them anyway so we can turn our page together and look up at the audience to be able to be more in sync." Destiny Cassire said, "The feedback on our performance I have not received yet, though I hope it comes back mostly positive."
On February 15th, Chequamegon Middle School students were on a field trip to Sylvan Park in Wausau to go tubing. The trip was supposed to take place on January 27th, but due to weather, the trip was rescheduled. The trip was an earned incentive for students. Students had the choice among 3 lanes on one hill. Due to rain, one of the hills was shut down because of a big puddle of water at the end. Jalen Burnell stated, "My favorite part about the trip was having multiple people go down the hill at once to make it go really fast. I really enjoyed just having a relaxing, fun winter day."
Mr. Boblik is the mayor of Park Falls and has been subbing for teachers in the Chequamegon School District since 2016. Last school year, he subbed in the current events and English A classes, while this year he is subbing for U.S. History and World Geography. Mr. Boblik plans on subbing for the rest of the school year, and he enjoys subbing for classes like social studies or music.
Pizza for the Pursuit of Perfection occurred on February 21st. Pizza for the Pursuit of Perfection is for students who had a 3.5 GPA or higher in the second quarter. In the second quarter, 67 middle school students qualified. Mr. Kilmore stated that this is a way for Chequamegon Middle School to recognize high-achieving students. In the fall, the middle school students will have another incentive called Grilling for Greatness, with the same requirements but for quarter 3.
Elementary students went on a field trip on Thursday, February 16th, to Camp Forest Springs, where they went tubing. The elementary also celebrated 100 days of school. Well, Miss Hanson's first graders were put into tribes where they were able to pick their tribe names and made their own flag. The tribes worked together to complete STEM challenges that were about the number 100. Mrs. Dietz's second graders learned about activities and games from long ago. They also learned about
The middle school wrestling team started off their season on February 2nd. The coaches this year are Mr. Eric Brown, Mrs. Stephanie Hurtrider, and Mr. Jerry Ernst. This year, grades 5 through 8 are on the same team and have more wrestlers than ever before. Practice takes place every day except for on Wednesday, and if you are 13 years or older, you can weight lift. The team has been working on single and double leg takedowns along with many other moves. This year, there are only 5 meets, and they do not start until March. Until then, the team will be working hard in the wrestling.
The Chequamegon Middle School girls volleyball season went into February. Once the season ended, Coach Morgan decided she would like to put together a travel volleyball team for 7th and 8th grade girls. The schedule is yet to come out, but the season will last until the end of the school year. The girls had a game on February 2nd against Butternut. The girls knew they would have a tough time playing them since they have gone undefeated this season so far. The B team won their game, but unfortunately the A team took a loss, sadly continuing the Butternut A team's winning streak. The girls were supposed to have another game on Friday, February 3rd against Ironwood, but due to cold weather, the games were canceled and rescheduled on February 21st. They had a home game against Bayfield on Tuesday, February 7th, and the B team started the night off with a win. The A team followed with another win. The matches were very close for both teams, and unfortunately, the girls came out with wins. There was a couple of times when the girls were down by a couple of points, and with good serves and trying their hardest. The girls had another game just 2 days later on Thursday, February 9th against Wakefield. The girls played them for their first game of the season, but both teams lost that game. Although they lost to Wakefield before, they did not let it get to their head, and both A and B teams won their 2 matches. The volleyball team had another game the night after. They played in Hurley on Friday, February 10th. The B team lost their game, and sadly the A team followed with another loss. The next day, on Saturday, February 11th, the girls had a volleyball tournament in Butternut. There were 4 teams who came to play. Chequamegon, Mellon, Butternut, and Mercer. The girls had played all of these teams once. They started off by playing Mercer. The girls won their matches, and then shortly after they played Butternut, but sadly they won, continuing their streak. After that game, they played Mellon and won both matches, with winning 2 games, and only losing 1, they took second place. On Monday, February 13th, the volleyball team had another game in Mercer. They had beaten them before, and they did it again. The B team won all 3 matches, and the A team followed in their footsteps, also winning all 3 matches. With only about a week left after the girls' volleyball season, it narrowed down to only 4 games. They had a game on Thursday, February 16th. They played in Bayfield, and the B team started the night off with a win, and the A team followed with very close matches, but unfortunately they lost. The girls had another game on Friday, February 17th against Mellon. The girls had beaten them before, and they did it once again. The B team started the night off with a win, and the A team followed in their footsteps and came out with another win. The girls only had 2 games left last week. They started the week off by playing Mercer on Monday, February 20th. The B team won, and the A team also won. The Chequamegon Middle School girls volleyball team ended their season off on a high note. They played Ironwood on Tuesday, February 21st, and both teams won. The girls had an end-of-the-season party at the high school on February 27th on Monday night. That night consisted of swimming and pizza. Then finally, what the girls were most excited for was a game of players against parents. The B team went first, and the B team players' parents went out on the court so they could play with their kids. There were 2 matches played by each team, and both teams won the first and lost the second. Many of the parents showed up and did a great job playing. The girls had so much fun with this end-of-the-season party, even though it would.
On February 25th, the Pee-wees played Tomahawk and won both games. The scores were 15-1 and 13-0. The next day, they played Ironwood and won both games. The scores were 9-2 and 8-1.